Hello, Darthvegan here, back with another episode of Kerbal Space Program Season 5. We're going to take a couple of these quick contracts here where we're doing tests on the launch pad or having just landed. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one for the thud, and I'm going to grab this one for the stack separator. They're both small, but at this point in the game we need all the money we can get. So I'm going to go ahead and grab both of those. And then probably next, this episode, we're probably going to be doing a moon flyby or a Kerbal powered landing. What is that? Altitude above 500. And then you have to land near the black monolith. Oh, that might be interesting. Yeah, that might take a couple of tries, actually. Once you perform a remote-powered landing near the black monolith north of the KSC after reaching 500 meters altitude. Naturally, no parachutes, wings, or even nose cones and air-breathing engines are allowed on the test lander. Oh. Interesting. So I have to send up a rocket, basically. And I can't have any aero parts. Wow, that will be tough, but that might be fun to try. It's new that all the rest of them are all the same. Let's go ahead and test these parts that we've got here. All right, Merlin MK2 did a good job. We're going to do a test craft here. This is going to be the DVS test. I think I already have some test beta. Okay, we're just going to put a little cheap Probodobodine on here. Just a little bit of fuel. No biggie. There we go. And then, what was it? A thud? Ah, a thud. Okay. It's one of those. Okay. Well, let's put on a little bit of a extra tank here. Wrong one. Mr. Thud. There we go. It's an expensive test craft, 4,000. What am I even getting from this test? Probably not 4,000. He just has to be on the launch site to test them. And then the stack separator has to be landed. Activate the part through the staging sequence when all test conditions are met. Does it actually have to take off? I'm not sure. I need a TS-18 stack separator. Just like so. I'll flip it around. Alright. There we go. Let's try it. Forgot this very critical part of everything in RemoteTech is having plenty of power and connection points. So even though we're doing these small little test builds, we still have to make sure we have power and an antenna. Alright, now let's see if we can get this thing done here. Run the test. Did it? Successful. What do we need to do for this second mission? Perform the test, activate the part through the staging sequence when all test conditions are met. They are all met. Alright, here we go. Ready and activate. Did it. Successful. Contract is complete. Alright. We got some good data here. Thanks. Awesome. Easy money right there. Other than the cost of that stack separator. Free money. Free money. Okay. Now let's look and see what we want to do this episode for real. Did some part testing. That's fine. We're probably going to go ahead and do this Kerbal powered landing. Do we want to try that this episode? Or do we want to try to get a man orbit and safe return? Does Steve have what it takes to do this? Airplane cockpits are not allowed for this mission. What? Oh, man. I can't use my cockpit. So I won't be able to do this yet. I won't be able to do that one yet. I won't be able to do it until I get small re-entry pods. The onion. So that's too bad. That's too bad. Won't be able to send anyone into, or I won't be able to complete the mission, I should say. I can go ahead and try to send Steve into orbit. He hasn't even been into space yet, has he? Poor Steve. In fact, none of the Kerbals have. None of the other Kerbals. I could send Steve up in the warp, just like we did with Jacob, and just let him go up to space. But we'll probably modify it so that it's capable of orbit, if we think we can survive a re-entry. I could get this. I have enough science to get this. Enhanced survivability. Gives us heat shields, more parachutes, some drogue chutes, life support, service bay to put stuff in, and an onion. I've got that amount of science. I think we're gonna hold off one more episode before we do. Why? Why though? What are we gonna do this episode that's so important? Well, I kind of wanted to send Steve up in the wart, and that won't count for that. I mean, Jacob got to go up into space. Steve hasn't got to go into space. I'm going to name this episode Steve Gets Whiny. Because he's like, I want to go into space. Not the real Steve. Steve Kerbal. Real Steve has been really cool about everything. Alright, so the wart MK2 is a hot mess. But we're going to fix that. We're going to do a complete makeover of this hot mess. And we're going to put some nice parts on this thing. We're going to grab the pug first of all. It's got really low thrust. Maybe I shouldn't do the pug. Maybe I should do something with a little more thrust, like a torch. Like so. This will get us into orbit. I just know it. But I'm going to make it even fancier. Now that we're not restricted by parts, I think we'll put on some landing legs so that when we land, we can actually land upright. Is this the most important thing to be spending my time on? Of course it is. What are you, drunk? Of course it is. Alright, so that we got that there. Lovely as a dovely. These guys are going to have some nice nose cones. We're going to go ahead and grab some better fins here. The winglets are huge, but they'll do some good work. There we go. Are we still under all the limits? Yes. Getting close, but we're still there. And let's take these guys off. And we're going to put on this big boy, the Valiant. Oh my. Oh my. Yeah. This should do it, man. Steve should be able to get into orbit, I think, with this thing. I think Steve will be just fine. And look at this. I even got stability enhancers. Still doing okay? Yep. Awesome. We could really get a nice boost going by putting on some of these guys. Boom! Yeah. I think it might be a little overkill. I think we got enough Delta V here to do this. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. The Wart MK3 is ready. We're going to try to send Steve up into space and orbit, perhaps. Okay, so we do have some science there. We probably need the mystery goo back on there. Let's grab that little bit of science. Alright, let's just pop it back there. I think we're ready. I think this thing is ready to go. Steve, you don't look nervous. Are you nervous about going up in the wart to follow in Jacob's footsteps and get into orbit? Surpass him? You don't look too confident. I don't know. I think you're going to be just fine. Let's do it, Steve. Steve is strapped in. He is ready. We are throttling up to 100%. We are getting everything ready for launch. SAS is a go. All systems, go. Steve looks at all his instruments. They're all a go. He's feeling a little nervous, but he feels good. We're ready for launch in 3, 2, 1, launch. And we're off! We're launching. We're making it happen. It's beautiful. This is a true moment in history. Steve will be the first Kerbal to reach the orbit of Kerbin. This is amazing. This is the most amazing thing I have ever witnessed in my history of journalism. Steve here, quite the pilot. He's got his GoPro camera on. He's handling it with finesse and aplomb. And we have separation. Everything is still nominal. Looking good, everybody. Looking good. Steve, do you want to look off? Take a look and see what you can see here. You can see the curvature of Kerbin from this height. Alright. Steve is well on his way. Gravity turn is looking good. We're at an apoapsis height of 20K and we're at 90 degrees, so looking pretty good. Pretty good. Let's hold here for a moment. Steve, go easy on the gravity turn for now until separation. And we have upper stage separation. Everything is looking good. Looking good, everybody. Looking good. Good job. Steve does not have to worry about the radio connection, so he's fine with where he's at in the process. Alright, Steve's gonna look at the planet below him. So fantastic. Are those cracks in your windshield, Steve? Are you fine? He's fine. We're going to go ahead and get ready to do our orbital burn as soon as we reach about 30 seconds from our apoapsis, Steve. Steve is in space. Steve is very excited to be in space, just like Jacob. He shan't be discounted. He shan't be outdone by Jacob. Alright, we're getting ready to do our orbital insertion burn. Will Steve be the first Kerbin in orbit? Let's find out. We got 400 meters per second left of delta V, and we're about 200 away from achieving orbit, so it'll be close. He may get stuck and die up here. Don't want that. Oh my god. He's gonna be so close, but not quite. Oh, he didn't quite make the orbit. Steve was so close. He's very disappointed. He needed just a little bit more delta V in order to be able to get this thing into orbit. So he shall be coming back down, hopefully safe and sound, in less than one rotation. Very good, Steve. It was a good try. You can blame mission control for that. Maybe they could have spared a little bit of extra fuel, shaved off just a little bit here and there. I think we could have made it, and you would have been in good condition for that. But you at least get 20 minutes of flight time here, Steve. 20 minutes of flight time's not bad. How long does this? How long does all of these things last? I'm about to look up how long it takes for the Kerbals to utilize all of these materials. Like how much will this oxygen last him? A day? Less than a day? 8 hours? 20 minutes? I hope more than 20 minutes, because that's how long he's going to be up here. He's accumulating carbon dioxide up here as we speak. And he's watching Kerbin fly past underneath him. What a sight. Oh, that was beautiful. What a lovely sight. Steve, you're a lucky man. Lucky man. Not quite the first in orbit. I'm afraid to say Jacob may be able to get that happen. He may be able to make it happen. Steve's like, come on, one more chance. So I don't know, Steve. These launches are awfully expensive. I don't know if we can afford one more chance. We may have, because we have to do contracts, you know. I may have to do contracts, and we're not going to get any money from this because we didn't break any world records, and it's really all just for your ego. This is the only reason why we did it, Steve. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about your ego wasting money? It's fine. It's my ego too. So, all right, we're hitting heavier atmosphere now. We're at 50K. We're getting some flames around the cockpit. Steve's okay so far. So far, so good, Steve. Well done. Keep it up. There we go. We're coming in about 2,000 meters per second. That's pretty quick. We don't have a heat shield on this, but I think that engine should be able to withstand that amount of heat. It's scary to not know what's behind us, though. What's behind us? Well, nothing at this height. We're still at 35K. Uh-oh. We have flipped around. We got a problem. We got a problem. We're flipping. We're turning. Steve's lost control. Steve, are you okay? Steve? Do you read me? Can you maintain control, Steve? Can you get it under control? This is a wild ride from hell. And looks like the vessel has stabilized. We're coming in around 1,200 meters per second. We're going to come near the island of Kernadia, probably there, it looks like. If I know my geography right. Yeah. Kernadia, that's a thing. See if you can glide it in, Steve. You're my hero. Steve's getting a little panicked. He wants to pop his chutes, so he's going to pop them. And we have a safe velocity to return to the surface of Kerbal. Steve is all eyes. He can't believe it. He was so close to making orbit and just was a little short. He's really upset. And we have touchdown. Or in this case, splashdown. Alright, we got a teeny tiny bit of science from that. We got some money back, but we didn't get any new funds. Steve got a little bit of flight time. Didn't get any reputation for the Space Center, so while it was a fun time, was it time well spent? That's the question. So what went wrong? Well, my launch might not have been as nominal due to the fact that I was trying to do it from the cockpit. So let's try it again. No, I'm just kidding. We probably should go ahead and do our research. What is our missions right now? We don't have any active missions right now. Alright, so we have to take some missions. We could do a moon flyby or a Kerbal powered landing. Or manned orbit and safe return. I think that's what we're going to take that one. And I think I'm going to try this Kerbal powered landing. This might be a trick. Or a treat. I'm not sure. Moon flyby. We might be able to do that. We don't have to recover them, right? Recover or transmit any experiment. This is what I'm worried about. Because we may not be able to recover it because of... I don't know if we'll have a good enough connection. I'm nervous about this whole RemoteTech thing, honestly. And where do we get better antennas? Right here. High gain antennas. Short range, dual purpose communications antenna that can handle either direct communications or short range relays. Oh! We can send up some satellites. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. That sounds really great, actually. Okay. So, let's go ahead and take enhanced survivability and small reentry pods. And we're going to take the wart model that we made. We're going to change it up a little bit. And we'll call it the Arthur. And we're going to send Jacob up and see if he can orbit and re-enter. Alright, so this onion pod has a little bit of an ablator. So I don't have to put a separate ablator on it. It does not have its own parachute, so we need to make sure we get a parachute on there. Let's go ahead and grab the small one. I think that'll be enough for that little guy. Alright, awesome. Alright, so we have the separator there for that. Let me go ahead and put it on a separate module. Oh, it's got its own separator, does it? Yeah, it's got its own decoupler. Okay. Alright, don't need that then. Save the money. Save the money! Alright, so we decouple, parachute. Got some engine pods on there. Oh, it's a little heavy. It's a little heavy. So, we're too heavy for the launch pad at this point. This would definitely get us into orbit. I could probably shave off another little bit of fuel. Go something like, oops, something like that. We're under the weight limit now. We might have enough delta V to get into orbit. The problem is getting up to orbit with this current configuration might be a trick. So let's go ahead and see if we can pop on some boosters here. We need something with a lot of thrust. The shrimp does not have it. The hammer does, however. These things are going to knock the socks off Jacob. Oh my, we're still over weight limit. Okay, so you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to go ahead and we are going to fly with this thing. And I'm going to upgrade the launch pad. I think that'll be worth it. I'm worried that this only has 0.66 meters thrust to weight ratio. I'm hoping that by the time these things run out, this will have a chance to burn up some of this fuel. They only burn for 23 seconds, so that's more like it. There we go. Look at that. All right, Jacob's getting he's getting kind of ready here. He wants this to happen. All right, so the DVS Arthur is looking pretty good. This should get us into orbit, I believe. Let's go ahead and pop some science onto this thing, and pop some science over there. A little science right there. And we'll pop 2 of these guys. Well, I don't want it to block the door, so let's put it underneath there. Just so we have equal balance. We will go ahead and put an antenna on it, even though we don't necessarily need an antenna. Something just like that. Alright, looking good. Looking good, Jacob. Now we just have to upgrade the launch pad if we have the money. I think we will. This is a 17K rocket. It has enough delta V to get into orbit as long as I play it safe. I think the staging is all good. Alright. Jacob, you're next up. Sorry, Steve. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the launch pad for 50K. There we go. Make sure I have the mission that I want here. Manned orbit and safe return. Yes. Jacob, Steve tried to one-up you, and he tried to get into orbit first, but he was not quite successful. How do you feel about your odds of getting into orbit now, today? Yes, he's ready. Here's the salute. He is ready. Let's do this. Ready for launch in 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have liftoff. Jacob is away. He is going to be the first Kerbal in orbit of Kerbal. Beginning our gravity turn now. Everything's looking good. Quite a bit of turbulence, but we're holding true. We're going to drop the solid rocket fuel boosters. Getting a lot of feedback from the system here. It's really struggling to cut through the air. In fact, we barely have any speed increase as we go. We have 2.5 thrust to weight ratio, so I don't understand why our speed's not increasing faster than it should. I mean, it should be a lot faster than that, honestly. I'm not sure what's up with that. So we are going to see if we can get up to some thinner atmosphere here. We are going to detach, and we have separation. Upper stage has engaged. We are steady on our flight. We have barely any speed increase, but it is starting to gain up a little bit now as we burn a little bit of our fuel. We are running with the Valiant as opposed to the Torches. Valiant has more gimbaling, so and we needed that in order to maintain our trajectory here, so we did do a design switch on that. I'm a little worried about the thrust to weight ratio. It's struggling, and so I don't know if we're gonna have enough fuel to get us into orbit. This is similar to the situation Steve encountered, where our engines are just not quite up to the task yet. It's not like I have a lot of extra stuff on this rocket. It's just, it's so heavy, and the rockets have so little thrust to weight ratio. Jacob has quite the view. Teeny tiny little port, but he's safe. Much safer than Steve was, I think. Alright, we have reached we have now an apoapsis of 80K. We're going to allow our vessel to go ahead and get up to that height before we engage our orbital burn. So we're going to go up to about 30 seconds out from our apoapsis here. Get ready to go prograde. And we are going to burn hopefully around 700 delta V to get us into orbit here. So we need to be around 2200 meters per second. And we have an orbit, folks. Jacob has successfully orbited Kerbal, the first Kerbal to have done so. Awesome. Awesome. So he will be landing and completing that contract. And I'm surprised we didn't have a world record broken. First Kerbal in orbit. But as far as I'm concerned, it is a world record. Good job, Jacob. You are a winner. Alright, so let's take a look at our trajectory. It's a pretty good one. We will... Should we... I think we'll come up to about right here and we'll begin our burn at our periapsis. And we'll see if we can land here at the Space Center. Alright, let's orbit around. We are going to attempt to re-enter once we get to about right here. There we go. Let's go ahead and re-enter the atmosphere. Hopefully I have enough delta V to get me back down to the Space Center. I think I do. It's going to be a little dusky, I maybe should have waited until daylight, but you know how it goes. Alright, there we go. That should do it. We should be coming in for a landing at sunset at the KSC. Jacob is happy. Alright, and we have re-entered Earth's atmosphere, or Kerbin's atmosphere. And we are coming in for our landing, our first Kerbal landing. What's this debris here? I see some debris around. Is that from our boosters or something? What is that? What is that from? Alright, I'm coming in hot. It's fine. It's all fine. Go ahead and give it a little spin, Jacob. Give it a little spin. All right. That was excellent. Excellent. And now we are ready. I wonder if this parachute can hold the weight of this entire thing. I may try it. I don't think it will be able to. A little short of the KSC. That's fine. I'd love to recover all of this if I can. If not, we'll pop this decoupler off, do just the onion. Oh yeah, it'll be fine. 10 meters per second. Surely this engine can survive that. And touchdown in the grasslands. Bink. And bonk. Alright. Let's recover it. Actually, can you go EVA? Can't do a surface sample though, can you? Nah. Nah, you can't. Okay. Well, that's fine. Bada bing, bada boom. A little more science. And some of our funds back from the rocket launch. That's good. And he got his first star. Advanced to level 1. Jacob. For the orbit of Kerbin. Awesome. Well done. And our contract was complete. We got 75,000 funds for orbiting Kerbin. Alright, let's go to the administration building here. And I want to start... Oh, here it is. Takes 5% of reputation gains and yields 1,000 funds for each 1 unit of reputation. I want that. 5%. Yep. Costs me 7 reputation. I'll do it. Okay. Very good. Alright, so that will help us with our fundage. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the next day. There we go. Alright, so that's going to be about it for this episode. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, smash that like button. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Going up beyond the air in this crazy rocket fair. Now I'm at the apogee. Uh-oh, now comes gravity. Is Kerbin really a big sphere? Will it simply disappear? I don't see a flat earth, but I've known it since my birth. Complications, no Delta V. I gotta make it to the KSC. Jeb done burn up all his stash. I gotta help him not to crash. Complications, no Delta V. I gotta make it to the KSC. Jeb already popped his shoots. Think I'm gonna puke. Gravity, no escaping. Gravity, gravity, no escaping. Not for free, ships fall down. Hit the ground, make an angry sound. Every time orbits aren't around, plan a mission to the moon. Hope we get there very soon. Take a look at all these rocks, makes the surface look like pox. Complications, no Delta V. Hope we make it to the KSC. Jeb done burn up all his stash. I gotta help him not to crash. Complications, no Delta V. We gotta make it to the KSC. Jeb already popped his shoots. Think I'm gonna puke. Gravity, no escaping. Gravity, gravity, no escaping. Not for free, ships fall down. Hit the ground, make an angry sound. Every time orbits aren't around,